Right now, all three major American automakers are quietly pulling V8 engines off showroom floors. The Camaro is dead. The Challenger is dead. The Hemi got yanked from the Ram truck and Dodge replaced its muscle cars with a turbocharged six-cylinder that sounds like a German luxury sedan. V8 engines used to power everything from your family sedan to your work truck. Today, they account for just 11% of new vehicle sales in America. 11. But here's the part that nobody is talking about yet. The automakers may have just gotten exactly the opening they need to bring the V8 roaring back. And one of them already bet nearly $1 billion on it. Let me show you exactly what is going on. Between 2023 and 2025, the American 5.8 went through the worst stretch in its nearly 100-year history. Chevrolet killed the Camaro after the 2024 model year. The assembly line in Lansing, Michigan went silent, and one of the most iconic muscle cars ever made simply vanished from the lineup. Every version, including the V6, was gone. The whole car was finished. Dodge went even further. Dodge retired both the Challenger and the Charger, two cars that had basically become the mascots of American horsepower. The Challenger had been in continuous production since 2008 and became the best-selling two-door muscle car in the country. The Scat Pack and Hellcat trims turned into more than just cars. They became a whole culture, complete with their own online communities, weekend parking lot meetups, and a fan base that would defend a Hemi Vive 8 like it was a family member. The replacements were an electric Charger that launched first, followed months later by a gas-powered version running a turbocharged inline six-cylinder instead of a V8. And this was not some traditional American straight six like your grandfather's pickup used to have. It was designed more like something you would find under the hood of a BMW or a Mercedes. Dodge loyalists looked at it and walked away. And then came the decision that lit the entire truck world on fire. Ram, the brand that had built its entire reputation on the Hemi V8 since 2003, pulled the engine from the 2025 Ram 1500 and replaced it with the Hurricane. This is a twin-turbo 3-liter inline-six that Stellantis had been developing since 2013 as a direct response to Ford's EcoBoost engines. On paper, the Hurricane is the better engine. 420 horsepower in standard form, 540 in the high-output version, better gas mileage, lighter weight. By every measurable spec, it beats the Hemi. Ram's loyal customers could not have cared less. The backlash was immediate, and it was brutal. Online forums erupted. Longtime Ram buyers walked into dealerships, looked at the build sheet, saw no Hemi option, and walked right back out the door. Some of them drove straight to Ford and Chevy lots the same afternoon. Ram CEO Tim Kuniskis, who had returned to the brand in late 2024, did something you almost never see in the auto industry. He admitted it was a mistake. Publicly. His exact words were that everyone makes mistakes, but how you handle them defines you. He said Ram screwed up when they dropped the Hemi, and they owned it and fixed it. In June of 2025, Ram announced the Hemi would return for the 2026 model year. Within 24 hours, over 10,000 pre-orders rolled in. 10,000 orders in a single day for an engine that makes less power and burns more fuel than the six-cylinder sitting right next to it on the same order sheet. Think about that. People are paying a $1,200 premium to get the V8 over the Hurricane, even though the Hurricane makes 25 more horsepower and 59 more pound-feet of torque. The Hemi gets worse gas mileage. It tows less weight, and buyers are lining up around the block for it anyway. That tells you the V8 was never about the spec sheet. It is about the sound, the feel, and 100 years of American identity sitting under the hood. But here is the question you should really be asking. Why did all of this happen in the first place? What forced these automakers to kill the engines their customers were begging them to keep? The answer comes down to one acronym: CAFE, Corporate Average Fuel Economy. Since 1975, the federal government has required every automaker to hit a fleet-wide fuel economy target across all the vehicles they sell. Miss the mark, and you pay enormous fines. By 2026, those standards demanded a fleet average of roughly 49 miles per gallon. Let that number hit you. 49 miles per gallon averaged across every truck, SUV, and sedan a company sells. A full-size pickup with a V8 gets maybe 18 in the city. For every V8 truck that rolls off the lot, an automaker needs to sell a stack of hybrids and tiny turbocharged engines just to keep the math working. That math is exactly why Ford started putting twin-turbo V6 engines in the F-150 way back in 2011. It explains why the Ford Expedition, the Explorer, and every single Ford SUV lost their V8 options over the past decade. Customers never asked for smaller engines. The regulations forced the switch. And the four-cylinder engines that now dominate 57% of the market? They make about as much horsepower on average as the V8s of 2001. The automakers will tell you that is progress. A lot of truck owners would call it something else. But then, right in the middle of all this, something happened that flipped the entire equation upside down. In mid-2025, Congress passed a massive spending bill informally known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Buried deep inside it was a provision that zeroed out all CAFE fines. They did not reduce them or pause them. They set the penalty to $0, retroactively, all the way back to 2022. The fuel economy standards still exist on paper, but without any fines for missing them, they are completely toothless. The single biggest force pushing V8 engines off the market just evaporated overnight. If you are finding this useful, hit that subscribe button. I dig into stories like this every week, and the one coming next is going to change how you shop for your next truck. So now the fines are gone. What are Ford, General Motors, and Ram actually doing about it? Ford is playing this smarter than anyone. They have the most to gain because Ford literally invented the affordable V8 back in 1932 when Henry Ford figured out how to cast the entire engine block as a single piece. That innovation put a V8 in the hands of everyday Americans for the first time, and Ford has been the V8 company ever since. Chief Executive Officer Jim Farley has been saying for years that Ford will keep building V8s as long as God and the politicians let them. Bill Ford, the chairman himself, doubled down just this month by saying V8 engines will stick around until they are literally banned. The Mustang GT with its 5-liter Coyote V8 is now the only affordable V8 sports car left on the American market. Ford is not retreating from that. They are running toward it. And they have a clever trick to make it work. The Mustang Mach-E electric crossover offsets the V8 Mustang's emissions, letting Ford keep selling gas-powered muscle without a penalty. On top of that, the Mustang races on 6 continents every single weekend, and every one of those race cars is powered by a V8. Ford's racing program feeds directly back into the production car. But Ford is just one piece of this. What General Motors is doing might be even bigger. In May of 2025, General Motors quietly announced an $888 million investment in next-generation V8 engine development. Let me repeat that. Nearly $1 billion. Not to maintain old engines, but to build brand new ones from the ground up. Insiders are calling it the Gen 6 small block. It is a pushrod V8 reportedly displacing 6.7 liters, with both direct injection and port fuel injection. General Motors officially confirmed just days ago that this engine will power a new Corvette Grand Sport, debuting for the 2027 model year. After that, it is expected to spread into the next generation, Silverado 1500 and Sierra 1500 pickup trucks. Does that sound like a company that thinks the V8 is dying? And then there is Ram. The Hemi is back, and Ram is not being quiet about it. Every 2026 Ram 1500 equipped with the V8 wears a special fender badge called the Symbol of Protest. Ram's design team created it. It shows a ram's head breaking through a Hemi V8 engine block with oversized exhaust pipes. They are literally branding the V8's return as an act of rebellion against the industry trend. So what does all of this mean if you are in the market right now? If you want a new V8 truck, you have three real options. First, the Ford F-150 with the 5-liter Coyote V8 paired with Ford's 10-speed automatic. Second, the Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra still offered the 6.2-liter V8, making 420 horsepower. And the 2026 Ram 1500 brings back the 5.7-liter Hemi across nearly every trim level. For V8 sports cars, the Mustang GT starts around $43,000. The Corvette Stingray starts around $70,000, with 490 horsepower out of the box. And the Cadillac CT5V Black Wing, which many consider the last true V8 sports sedan made in America, is still in production. But that will not last forever. And here is something worth watching closely on the used side. The last generation Dodge Challenger and Charger models with Hemi 5 8 engines are already climbing in resale value. Those cars are done. The new Charger is 6-cylinder only. What Dodge built between 2015 and 2023 could end up being the final chapter of affordable V8 American muscle from that brand. Savvy buyers are already figuring that out. The V8 is not dead. But the world it lives in has completely changed. You can no longer walk into any random dealership and stumble across one without thinking about it. Today, the V8 is something you seek out, pay extra for, and in some cases, fight to keep on the market. The good news? Right now, at this exact moment in time, you still can. Ford is committed for the long haul. GM just bet nearly $1 billion on an entirely new V8 architecture. And Ram literally brought the Hemi back from the grave after a single year because their customers demanded it loudly enough. But windows like this have a way of closing when you are not paying attention. If this video changed how you think about the V8's future, hit subscribe. Next week, I am breaking down the 6 trucks that experts say will hold their value better than anything else on the road right now. You are going to want to see that one. I'll catch you there.